They say some girls are born soft, some are born sharp, and some are born wrong, as if the universe itself stitched them together with a secret it never meant to keep. A secret that leaks out slowly, through touch, through trust, through the quiet moments when people believe they are safe. Her name was Virelya Noctis, and she did not belong fully to the world of men, nor entirely to the world of women. She existed in the narrow, dangerous space where desire cuddles into ruin and intimacy becomes a weapon. Virelya was not raised by a mother. She was raised by a grandmother who had already died. The old woman was known as Granna Threnne, once a midwife, once a healer, once a woman whispered about in villages where children survived difficult births and men mysteriously fell ill after betrayal. When Granna died, she did not live. Death did not close her mouth or steal her opinions. She stayed pressed into the walls, the mirrors, the corners of candlelight, her voice calling out only when the house was quiet enough to hear it. Granna believed the world was a man's universe, designed without mercy for girls. She believed girls were born prey, and prey had only two choices: learn to disappear, or learn to hunt. Virelya learned early that silence could scream louder than sound. From the age of 7, she spoke to no one but the dead. At 13, Granna taught her the three powers: magic that wandered, magic without rules or scripture. Not spells written in books, but rituals fed by closeness. Power drawn from shared laughter, from whispered confessions, from skin warmed by trust. It was magic that bloomed only after people let you inside them. Friendship, Granna would hiss from the dark, is the softest doorway into a soul. And souls are easy to bruise once the door is open. At university, Virelya became unforgettable. She laughed too loudly, touched too easily, listened as if nothing else in the world mattered. Her eyes made people feel chosen. Men felt seen in a way they never had before. Women felt understood, mirrored, validated. She became the kind of presence people mistook for freedom. The kind of girl people told their secrets to at 2 a.m., the kind of girl who sat on beds, crossed boundaries gently, patiently, until no one remembered where the line had been. Weeks passed. Sometimes months. There were shared traumas, shared drinks, shared beds that people later told themselves meant nothing. Boundaries blurred, then vanished altogether. And then, always, everything collapsed. Careers imploded after quiet accusations. Relationships rotted from suspicion and shame. Minds unraveled under guilt they couldn't name. Lovers turned volatile. Friends lost themselves. People who had once been steady began to spiral, haunted by a sense that something had been taken from them without permission. Virelya never stayed to watch the aftermath. She always left just before the fall, just before the damage became visible. Each ruin fed her power. The stray powers grew stronger, heavier, more demanding. They no longer waited patiently for intent. They reacted to hunger, to resentment, to curiosity. Granna Threnne had always warned her of one rule: never confuse desire with devotion. But Virelya did exactly that. She convinced herself that destruction was justice, that ruin was protection, that dragging others down meant she could never be beneath them again. The magic stopped caring who deserved punishment. Innocent longing suffered alongside predatory intent. Consent blurred. Consequences widened. The ghost of Granna grew quieter, her presence thinning, as if ashamed or afraid of what her lessons had become. Then one night, Virelya met someone who did not fall. Her name was Elone Price, calm and steady, with a way of holding herself that suggested borders rather than walls. Elone listened without surrendering herself. She laughed without leaning in. She refused intimacy without respect, refused secrets without trust, refused power games disguised as affection. For the first time, Virelya felt small. For the first time, the stray powers hesitated. Virelya tried to force them. What came next was not power, but collapse. The magic turned inward, clawing through her own memories, exposing every lie she had wrapped around herself to survive. She saw every moment where she had mistaken control for safety, dominance for freedom. The ghost of Granna appeared then, not proud, not triumphant, but weary. "You were meant to survive," Granna whispered, her voice thin as smoke. "Not to corrupt. Not to become the thing you feared." Virelya vanished after that year. Some say she became a shadow that appears in dreams, warning people when desire starts wearing the mask of entitlement. Some say she is trapped between mirrors, unable to touch anyone again without pain. Some say she is still alive somewhere, powerless and ordinary, learning, too late, what decency cost. But the moral of our story remains, whispered wherever intimacy is mistaken for ownership. Power gained through violating emotional and sexual boundaries always poisons the one who wields it. Being a woman in a cruel world does not require cruelty in return. Freedom is not found in domination, and strength is not built from the ruins of trust. Because magic, real or imagined, demands responsibility. And every witch who forgets that eventually becomes the curse she feared most.